Julian Offray de Mettrie. Mettrie was a doctor, a medical doctor, banished from Holland for his book. What was his book called? Machine Man. What is his book about? It's explaining how we are. We're machines. Got news for you. Have you seen the world? The world is like a machine. It's like a clock. What is the human person like? Human person is like a human clock, a machine, a robot. What's the difference between the world and the human? The theory of a spiritual soul, he said, is an unnecessary hypothesis. Have we heard that before? That was Voltaire, right? Voltaire said the soul is an unnecessary hypothesis. And the Mettrie says the theory of a spiritual soul independent of the body is an unnecessary hypothesis. But whereas Pierre Bayle suggested that a state composed of atheists is possible, it could be possible that one day the United States would be all atheists, no religion. That's possible, said Bayle. The Mettrie said, not only is it possible, but it's desirable. Better to shake off religion and go to reason. Time in the Enlightenment. These things were taught by the church. I am so glad I did not live. I'm so glad I was not a Catholic priest back in this period. Follow me? We've been taught. Baron Paul von Holbach. The Holbach, we often call him, he was German. We see that he lived during the 18th century as well. Born in Germany, moved to Paris, and because he was a wealthy baron, he was able to host lots of people in his home, including lots of philosophers. So a lot of philosophers at this time period spent time at the Holbach's home, where he was hosting them, just to be able to talk about the world, and life, and ethics. He was a dogmatic atheist. An atheist, what does an atheist believe in? Atheists have no belief in God, right? He was a dogmatic atheist, there is no God, who had no need for postulating God or other supramundane beings. Mundane beings being the things of this earth, right? There's no need for postulating any spiritual things, because the only things that we can be sure about are those things that we see and taste and touch and smell.
If an atheist has no belief in God, then where do they believe they came from?
I think that most atheists living in the present, the question really is, where did you come from? And will you ever know? For most atheists, that is a mystery, and they don't need to explain it away with some sort of fable or myth, right? Well, I'm here, I don't know. All I know is that I am here. Let's enjoy life and live it, and where I came from, I don't know. But I will tell you one thing, I don't believe in God like many people do, they will say. You know what I mean? If you believe in certain conceptions of God, we say that God is a certain way, that's not how they believe in God. But it's conceivable. They are atheists, they don't believe in God in the same way that we do. But that doesn't mean that at the end of the day, they lie awake at night too, thinking, wonder where we came from. Wonder where we're going after this life.
Well, they all go to hell, so they don't believe in God.
Don't go into hell, you don't believe in God. Right? Spoken like a good Christian. Thank you. So for the Holbach then, there was no reason for postulating something that's out there or up there or wherever God is supposed to be. I mean, there's this world that we live in, and that's what we have. The Holbach suggested religion is an enemy of human happiness and progress. So many thinkers during this Enlightenment, it's just that they consider the church as this dark, evil institution that keeps people yoked, right? How it is that it impedes the happiness and freedom of people. He also said, ignorance and fear created the gods, or God if you will. Fancy, enthusiasm, and deceit have adorned and disfigured the pictures we form of those gods. Weakness worships the gods. Credulity, believing things that aren't true, preserves those gods. And tyranny supports belief in them for its own purposes. Tyranny, the church, the tyrants of the church are telling us to believe in God for their own purposes, whatever those purposes are. He concluded, belief in God, so far from making us happy, belief in God does not make us happy. Belief in God increases our anxiety and fear. Ask any Christian who's afraid of going to hell, right, Janie? How much anxiety that causes for a person lying awake at night wondering, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to heaven. I don't know if I'm good enough to go to heaven. The anxiety that she feels over these things, she wouldn't have if she were a good atheist.
She's getting hot now. Gonna feed some more chocolate.
That was the Holbach. The Holbach was an atheist, and people like Voltaire denounced him for his atheism only because even though we were philosophers, we were not ready to renounce God. We have to come from something. Okay, let's call that thing God. Whatever that first cause was that we trace ourselves back to, let's call it God. We're not ready to give up on the idea of God. We had to have come from something. Let's call it God.